It is day 2 of the Creative Courage Challenge that I took. So I'll be making a video um, once a day for about a week. And so, like I said, today's day 2, and I just finished reading my copy of um, Jaguar In The Body, Butterfly in the Heart by Yakov Darling Khan. And so I thought it might be something worth talking about. Where do I begin, really? This book has an amazing backstory, and let's see, where can I start, really, that I'm even aware of? These things aren't planned, per se. Let me share my screen with you. So it starts with this painting. It's titled Courage. It's a digital painting in Photoshop. It's actually one of the first and only that I've ever made. And let's see, courage began when this woman, her name's Marie, and she was a guest of a friend I was painting with at Enchanted Forest Festival almost 2 years ago. And Marie had caught a glimpse of me in such a way where I think it was something about the combination of my tattoos and my teeth. I have these like fangs, and sometimes I kind of get a little fangy when I'm smiling and laughing. And she comes up to me and she says, "You should make a jaguar with butterfly spots." And I was like, I should do that. That's a great idea. And I've seen her, I've witnessed her as sort of a muse. Like, she has appeared in a couple artists I know in their work, or now she is sort of delivering me this idea. So Marie is a muse as far as I'm concerned. And so she delivered me this mission, let's say, to make this being, this jaguar with butterflies for spots. And I did. And actually I have several stories I can tell you about this painting that's honestly, they're all kind of hysterical and funny and cosmic. And but I'm only going to tell you really maybe one today. And it's not necessarily the funniest, but it's profound to me. And so I was working on this piece down in Joshua Tree and doing some good medicine work. And I often weave my journeys and my work with shamanism and medicines and any type of healing, even if it's not technically considered shamanism. Any of the healing paths, I think they're all beautiful and have something to offer. And so I often weave my experiences into my art. And sometimes they weave themselves into me in such a way. It's not like I'm necessarily in charge so much as I'm experiencing it. But I created this piece, and it initiated and has been a part of a journey of self-discovery around my own personal authority, my inner instinct and my body and my own knowing what's right for me, what I need to do, trusting my intuition, which is very strong. But I've had trouble in my life being really hypersensitive and being able to feel things that maybe not everyone around me can feel, or they feel them in different capacities. But letting people talk me out of my instincts because I was looking for external approval. And I'm sure other people can relate to this. But, I would feel something and I would immediately look to my outer world to see, if what I was feeling was correct, rather than just really learning to trust and have grace in that knowing as it arises. And so there's that piece, but there's also not just the trusting the inner authority, but also having the courage, the name of the painting, and the confidence to walk your path. And a lot of this book that Yakov has put together here is really the medicine of that, of trusting yourself and your instincts and walking your path and your journey, and letting it unfold and really believing in yourself, regardless of what other people tell you. And so there was a bit of work around that going on. And then about a year ago, I sat in another ceremony. They're about a year apart from each other. So I sat in one closer to my home, and I got to work with 2 different medicines, but the one I want to talk about is my work with the grandfather, and how much the grandfather was deeply encouraging of my creativity, and was showing me this old story, and you could feel it like a sad song that was echoing out into the world, and I could see it. And I was kind of alternating a little bit between this version of myself and a past life. I guess you could call it a past life, even though it was sort of simultaneous in a way, because that self lives within this self, and there were all these layers to it. But I was witnessing the pillaging of the land as a young child. That was the viewpoint I was looking out at in these memories, and I was watching this wave of hate as I understood it, because I had never really known those feelings. I had known, I'd lived a healthy life, and I'd never known this hate that we encounter now, and how debilitating it is for us in our life. And I was watching this hate come across the land and take over the people and the land, and it was this sad song, and I could feel that song echoing throughout my DNA. And then Grandfather, it was almost like a book inside my mind, and Grandfather just turned the page and was like, look, a whole new story. And it was this vision of all the people I knew and loved, and people all around the world who were stepping up in their process of awakening and reclaiming and healing and aligning on this new story that wants to be born through us for our world. And how I got to be a part of it. And I got up and I played my flute, and it was this moment where I felt like I was saying, I'm here and I'm awake and I'm down to join the cause. And it was really beautiful. And that whole journey, I had seen the tiger, and I'd seen other medicine like spirits kind of come and want to work with me in different journeys. But this one was very like there, like my vision was different. I had never seen that real. And I actually had thought it was the main shaman who was leading the group. But when I told him, he was like, kind of like, oh, wow, that's so cool. And only way that it wasn't you, you're not the tiger. I thought it was your energy. And he was like, no, I've never worked with tiger. So I came to realize that I had this profound being in these big cat energies. And like I said, I have other stories around this big cat energy, but I won't go into that today, maybe tomorrow. And sorry for all the ums. Like I said, this is some raw shit, and I'm just recording it, stream of consciousness. I don't write it down or plan it or anything. But so anyways, I don't really know where it was. All I know is that I did this amazing work, and I was being really encouraged around my creativity and my path, and it was showing me how we can heal the world, and by giving of ourselves. And it was really like, girl, you know this. Like, you know this already. Like, what do we got to do to help you just get out there and rock it, you know? And so let's just say we did a lot of good work that night, and things have been great. And I went home the next morning, and I had this email in my inbox from Hay House, and they were requesting commissioned work. And I was just like, no way. Is this really happening? I had that email, and I had this other email from another group who was literally creating a collective effort to create a group song with musicians and singers all over the world and artists that they used to help fund the project. And so there are all these ways now that like we were working together to create art to share our truth of this essence of what is real that we've kind of become a little disconnected from in our culture. It's to understate it a little bit. But yeah, so I wake up, have this email, they want this painting. They're like, this is perfect, this is the title of the book, we want this piece, or if it's already licensed to someone else and we can't use it, can we commission a new one? So of course I'm elated. I'm like, yeah, this needs to happen. There's this web that is weaving us together here, and giving us faith and inspiration in this like larger intelligence that is kind of moving us all around like little chess pieces, you know, and we're actually accomplishing something, even though it's bigger than the scope of what we all can see. And so sometimes we get down in our doubts and our negativity, or we feel disconnected and lost, but we aren't. We're really definitely here doing something, and I've been coming to own my truth and have my guts to get out there and share myself. So I wanted to read a little bit, just a little. I don't know if I lost the section, you know, I had it kind of marked out at one point, but I wanted to read some of the book. And there's that page, but there was another one. Here it is, found it. So let's see if I can read it and not cry all over the place like I'm prone to do. Oh, I'd also wanted to mention that Hay House was so happy with my cover art that they asked if they could use it for their yearly catalog. So I got kind of hooked up. And my medicine is out traveling in the world, and that's really exciting for me. So, to read from the book before this becomes too long and nobody cares anymore. I'm going to read some sections from the end that I felt kind of summarized everything and kind of pulled together this connection that's hard for me to explain, but maybe I'm supposed to try to show it. And it says, a shaman is called into being by their own predilection for matters of the spirit, a journey interspersed with healing crises through the shadowlands of their own psyche, and finally, by their community and elders. It has taken me half a century to recognize and accept my own nature. When I look back over my life so far, I see clearly that the healing journey I've taken has been focused on changing the stories that have imprisoned me. Being who you have been told to be is more important than being who you actually are. And you are not enough as you are. Were the messages I found again and again at the roots of my unhelpful behavior. I was more than a little hypnotized by these stories. I found it hard to come out from behind the mask I'd learned to wear. For years, all my shamanic experiences fed those hungry ghosts inside me, but the ghosts just chewed them up and demanded more. And I didn't feel that I was good enough, magical enough, or shamanic enough. My focus was firmly on how others saw me, just as it had been trained to be. At the same time, my visions opened my eyes to the majesty and the joy of life. They reminded me of what I'd known as a child, but deep down, I continued to sing the painful song that is doing so much to destroy the fabric of life on earth. I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I need more. I believe that shifting our identity from this debilitating mantra is the healing task of our times. Round and round I went until eventually I found a ground of being inside myself, rooted in my body and in a sense of self that wasn't dependent upon the approval of others. Pretty good shit. So the whole book is really his story. I don't know if I described him already or not, but Yakov is a Jewish Englishman who's attracted to shamanism his entire life and then spent, starting kind of in his early 20s, he got really into it and thought he was going to be a super shaman, and then kind of got to, maybe we've all been there a little bit. And then he got real, and, his teachers got real with him, and he started walking his path and earning it and working hard, and he's gone on to study and cultivate himself and his own special medicine that he offers. And he was very motivated by the fact that, he's from the land where we, our way of connecting was maybe stolen from us in some manner. And so we're kind of seeking it out from other elders, but he and his wife went and learned from people, but always kept their medicine pure and made it their own. And huge part of their medicine offering is mostly dance, actually. They do ceremony and all these other things, but for them, the dance is like the foundation of their connection. And as a creative person, I can really relate to having your creative practice be a strong aspect of your spiritual practice or your healing journey. And so anyways, more about them. I had one more couple paragraphs, page and a half, that I wanted to read. So here goes. It says, so what have I learned on the journey so far? Over the years, I've had a real battle with the fear of being who I was and the bitter lack of self-acceptance that underlay it. I struggled to balance the parts of me that wanted to fit in and be acceptable with my existential need to stay in touch with the magical wild of the imaginal world of pure spirit. Relatable, right? This is still ongoing. The part of me that feels bewitched by the spell of the times can easily be overwhelmed by fear of what is happening in the world. In that fear, I see those parts of myself that cling to certainty and flee from the unknown, and what a temptation certainty is. But the more I rest in the knowledge of who I am and what I'm committed to, the more I am free. In my freedom, I choose to do my best to take small, consistent, everyday steps and occasional quantum leaps in the direction that my heart calls me. On this road, there is dignity. There is the remembrance that my perception of myself and what is or isn't possible is radically affected by the story that I tell. And there's the remembrance that though I don't decide what happens in life, I'm free to choose how to dance with it to the best of my ability. I've come to accept that good and evil exists in this world, and equally importantly, these forces exist inside of me. and I have the free will to choose the road I will walk on and the responsibility for that decision. Shamanism isn't nice. It's as much about the darkness as it is about the light. It's as much about the jaguar as it is about the butterfly. For those of us brought up in the modern world, it has to embrace the body and the heart every bit as much as it embraces the mind. Jaguar in the Body invokes the raw embodied power of our true and wild natures and of the nature itself. The jaguar is a fierce protector of what it loves. Butterfly in the Heart invokes the shining and fleeting beauty that we can catch glimpses of in one another when we feel safe enough to see and be seen. The butterfly is the miracle of transformation that touches us with its soft and silent wings. As in the micro, so in the macro. Shamanism has a role to play in reminding us that we all have a lot of jaguar power inside of us, and we are often blind to the effect its unconscious use has on ourselves, on others, and on the environment. And shamanism consistently reminds us how important it is to protect those parts of the complex web of life that are fragile and butterfly-like, and that our modern way of life is deeply damaging to them. By recognizing this dance in myself and owning all aspects of it, I am bound to do my best to stand up for what I believe in. The shamanism I practice demands more than sitting still in pretty visions singing about the light. Movement medicine invites us to stand up and do all that we can to bring our visions and dreams to earth as an act of gratitude for the great mystery that gives us life. I have learned that we weren't given this earth to do as we pleased, but we came out of it and we are part of it. The end. I mean, there's a little bit, but pretty much, right? So I don't know what else to pull together here other than that I feel, it's a year later since the invitation to have my work on this book. And it's been a journey of just waiting for the time that it would come out. And it came out in June this year. So it's fresh out into the world. And it's just this really strong affirmation for my path and my journey. And even working with shamanism, I'm a total mixed heritage person. So I almost don't really identify with anything. I'm not entirely white. I'm not entirely Native American. I'm not entirely Mexican. But, and then amongst all the things that were within the whiteness are lots of different pieces. So, I'm a little unrooted to a culture in my own way, but I'm okay with that because I feel very strongly I like to do things from within and not have dogma so much associated with it, and to find my own connection in a pure way. And so this book is just just another one of like a million positive affirmations to slice through that cloud of doubt that keeps me from moving forward at times, and encouraging me to keep working with sincerity towards my dreams. So thanks for listening to my second day of the Creative Courage Challenge. It's not always my favorite thing to talk about myself to people on the internet or in general. It can make me very emotional, and I like to kind of maybe not get super messy. But I think this went pretty good. So have an awesome day, and get out there and find what inspires you and what you want to work towards. Oh, last piece, very important part. This author works with the Pachamama Alliance, and their book is available on Amazon for like $12 right now. And I don't make any money on book sales. I'm not trying to put money in my account and upsell you on something. I'm genuinely telling you about something that was very touching and magical in my life, and it has a lot of good medicine and energy to share with us. And if shamanism is something that you're interested in, or spirituality of any type, or dreaming, or just getting hella real, then maybe you'll like this book. I did, and I mean, obviously I'm biased. It's got an extension of me in it in some way. And author works with Pachamama Alliance, like I was saying, and they talk a little bit about it in the book, but they donate money from every sale to the Pachamama Alliance, which is helping to preserve the Amazon for the indigenous peoples who live there, and has actually done some major work to protect them from from Chinese oil company interests and our interests probably in America, and it was part of the dreaming of one of the tribes. They actually initiated it. They had a dream about what contact with America would look like, and they were so terrified by what they saw that they have this strong, I guess you call it a belief, that if something frightens you, you should move towards it. And I kind of get that, it's all about reclaiming your power. So they moved towards it and initiated this alliance of people who've been fighting to help protect the land and protect the lungs of the earth. So, if you wanted to get a little bit of my art and a sweet book and protect the rainforest today, you could do that for $12 on Amazon. Kind of sounds like a pretty easy and lots of winning situation. All right, that's all for today. I will have to make another meeting tomorrow, so come back for the ongoing perpetual embarrassment of that, and have an awesome time with me.